The town of Dry Creek sat in the middle of nowhere. Dust rolled through its streets almost every afternoon, coating the wooden buildings in a layer of pale brown sand. Horses moved slowly beneath the burning sun while tired men wandered in and out of the saloons chasing whiskey and trouble. Most people in Dry Creek cared about three things: money, power, and survival. But one man in town cared about something different. His name was Nathan Hale. Every woman in Dry Creek wanted to marry him. Not because he was rich, not because he owned land, and not because he carried a gun faster than most men. They wanted him because Nathan Hale was a kind of man people rarely met in the Wild West. Kind, honest, and impossible to corrupt. Nathan worked as a blacksmith beside the Eastern Road entering town. Every morning before sunrise, the sound of his hammer echoed through Dry Creek while sparks flew into the cold desert air. He repaired wagon wheels for travelers who couldn't afford new ones. He shoed horses for struggling farmers and sometimes refused payment completely. When widows needed broken fences repaired, Nathan fixed them himself. When hungry children wandered town without food, Nathan quietly left bread outside their doors at night. Nobody knew how a man could stay good for so long in a place as cruel as the frontier. But somehow Nathan did, and people loved him for it, especially the women. Every Sunday after church, mothers pushed their daughters toward him with hopeful smiles. Young women braided their hair carefully before walking past his workshop. Even wealthy ranch owners tried convincing Nathan to marry into their families. But Nathan always smiled politely and changed the subject. Someday maybe, he would say. Then he would return to helping someone in need. One afternoon, as the heat burned across the streets, Nathan hammered iron outside his shop while children played nearby. An older woman named Martha approached carrying an empty basket. Nathan noticed immediately. "You haven't eaten today," he said. Martha tried smiling. "I'm fine." Nathan reached into his satchel and handed her several coins. She shook her head. "I can't take your money again. It ain't mine if someone else needs it more." Tears filled the woman's eyes. "God's watching you, Nathan Hale." Nathan gave a small smile. "If he is, I hope he's forgiving." Across the street, three young women watched him from outside the bakery. One sighed dreamily. "He's perfect." Another laughed softly. "If he ever notices us." But Nathan barely noticed any of them. Because while others chased romance, Nathan carried something heavier inside him: guilt. Years earlier, before Dry Creek knew his name, Nathan Hale had been someone else entirely. A man with blood on his hands. A man running from his past. Nobody in town knew the truth, and Nathan intended to keep it buried forever. That evening, while the town gathered near the saloon for music and drinks, Nathan stayed behind closing his workshop. The sunset painted the sky orange and red across the desert. Then hoofbeats echoed from the distance. Nathan looked up. 3 riders entered town. Dangerous men. Dust-covered coats. Revolvers hanging low. Faces hard as stone. The townspeople quickly grew silent. The riders stopped directly outside Nathan's shop. The leader climbed down slowly. Tall. Scar across one eye. Cold smile. Nathan's face tightened instantly. He recognized him. Victor Kane, a ghost from another life. "Well," Kane said quietly, "look what we found." Nathan remained still. The other 2 men smirked. "Been a long time, Nate." The townspeople looked confused. Nathan rarely seemed nervous, but now tension filled his face. "What do you want?" Nathan asked. Kane stepped closer. "Heard rumors about some saint living in Dry Creek." He laughed softly. "Never thought it to be you." Nathan's hand tightened beside the hammer. "You should leave." Kane looked around town. "Nice little life you built here." His eyes narrowed. "Be a shame if folks learned who you really are." The air suddenly felt colder. Nathan lowered his voice. "That man's dead." Kane smiled darkly. "No, he's hiding." Years ago, Nathan Hale rode with one of the deadliest outlaw gangs west of Texas. Back then, people called him Black Nate. He robbed trains, stole from banks, and during one terrible winter, innocent people died during a robbery gone wrong. Nathan never forgot their screams. That night changed him forever. He abandoned the gang and disappeared into the frontier, swearing never to kill again. But men like Victor Kane never changed. Kane leaned closer. We're robbing the Silverton payroll train tomorrow night. Nathan stared silently. You're coming with us. No. Kane's smile vanished. You don't get a choice. Nathan looked toward the nearby homes. Children laughed somewhere down the street. Old Martha crossed slowly toward church. People trusted him here, maybe for the first time in his life. Kane followed his gaze. Nice town. He paused. Would hate for something bad to happen. Nathan understood the threat immediately, and Kane knew he would. Late that night, Nathan sat alone inside his workshop staring at a revolver hidden beneath old cloth in a wooden chest. He hadn't touched it in years. Outside, Dry Creek slept peacefully. Nathan closed his eyes. He remembered gunfire, screaming horses, men bleeding in the snow, a little girl crying beside a burning wagon. His breathing grew heavier. Then a knock came at the door. Nathan quickly covered the revolver. Come in. The door opened slowly. A young woman stepped inside. Emily Carter. She taught at the small schoolhouse near the church. Most men in Dry Creek secretly admired her. But Emily only ever looked at Nathan. She carried a basket of fresh bread. I noticed your light's still on, she said softly. Nathan forced a smile. You shouldn't be out this late. Emily studied his face carefully. Something troubled him. She could tell. You all right? Nathan nodded too quickly. Just tired. Emily stepped closer.